All right. What's up, pups? Hope you're doing absolutely amazing. My name is St. Wolf. Welcome to my channel. Today is going to be perfect for a Monday because I'm going to update you on some patterns I'm seeing in the market, and you can decide for yourself how you want to use them. But what's great about this video is the two things I'm going to show you can follow at home. They're very easy and they give you a lot of information. The confluence of what I'm going to show you is incredible. It's incredible, and I don't know why more people don't talk about it, because the best traders that I know of, managing billions at hedge funds, they trade volume, liquidity, and volatility. And I don't know why in crypto they don't look at these charts, because they're really basic. Like, you're going to pull, after this video, you're going to go, oh, I can pull this up at home, and you're going to pull it up, and you're going to follow it. And it's going to be super easy. So stick around. But remember, it's not financial advice. I'm a crazy guy at home on a computer who believes P-Dye is pegging to $1. So I pretty much lost it. Yeah. So you should definitely not take this advice at all. All right, let's go check it out and I'll show you what's going on. Okay. This is Bitcoin against the Global Liquidity Index. Okay. This is super cool. What's this? I'm gonna turn this off for now. Now, what's the Global Liquidity Index? Now, it's a pool of like hundreds of trillions of dollars that the source of funds are from the private sector balance sheet. I mean, that's like loans and banks and short-term providers of liquidity. Also takes into consideration households, corporations, you name it. And this is global. So this is banks all over the world, okay? Balance sheets being aggregated with all these other financial instruments and debts, okay? And so for one, it doesn't move very quickly, okay? It's not as volatile as a stock would be because it's an aggregate of so many banks and so many, balance sheets and debt sheets and instruments, okay? So this is an incredible way to see what the globe is doing liquidity-wise, okay, from the private sector, all right? Now, this is on the weekly, okay? I'm on a log chart on the weekly on Bitcoin, and I'm going to take you back to the beginning of Bitcoin, okay? Let's shrink this down. Now, if you go back to 2010, you can see the Global Liquidity Index had been going up, all right? It's very obvious. Okay. And Bitcoin was doing Bitcoin things. It was very volatile in the beginning. That's fine. But we see a general trend. And it stabilizes about, 2012, 13, when cycles first began. We had our first cycle. The beginning volatility was out of the way. Okay. And then you notice something very clear. You notice that Bitcoin is tracking the Global Liquidity Index very accurately. Okay. So it's moving up. I'd say by the first cycle, they connected to each other. Okay. So they moved up, liquidity stabilized, it wasn't going up as much, Bitcoin stabilized. You see these peaks that are going up. You see same thing happen here. The GLI was increasing. We had a peak above it, and then Bitcoin came back down to catch it again and moved its way down while GLI was stabilizing and consolidating again. And then something happened here. We all know what that is, right? This is the magic zombie apocalypse, okay? March 2020. Well, the GLI was consolidating here, okay? Bitcoin fell off the cliff. Now, it also did that with other assets as well, with stocks and other things, commodities. Everything just dumped, right? It's a world crisis. And what did the world do? Well, the GLI from here just completely went ballistic, okay? And not only did that go ballistic, but what else went ballistic? When I open this up, you begin to see these swings. This also swung with it in a big way, okay? And then what happened? We've been coming around. We started the bear market as countries, banks, private sector, people started shrinking their balance sheets, okay? And Bitcoin has been shrinking too. And if I put it like this, so it's easy to see, okay? You can see that about March 23, 3 years after this point, it had begun diverging, okay, where GLI balance sheets are still coming down. Even though they're printing in the U.S., I know they're propping up banks, they're printing money, which they are, okay, and there's other charts to show you that. But I just want to show you the global. This is a global GLI is coming down, okay? But what's happening with Bitcoin? It's just going up. Now, has it diverged like this in the past? Yeah, we can definitely see a couple of divergences. Let me show you that really quick. Okay, obviously when you get to the peaks of markets, it diverges to the upside while the GLI goes up, but it's more consolidation. So this is when we call these the bull market. These are the peaks, right? You see one here in 2017, 2013, obviously here in 2021, 2022, where I would say it probably was more. Well, actually, that's why they say, if you hear people say, like, we got kind of like cut short, yeah. Well, it got spread out on these two peaks. So we didn't have one big peak like you had here in 2017. You got these two smaller peaks, okay? You had like some serious distribution. They didn't allow it to take off and do like one big peak, okay? They made it a little harder to predict, okay? But you still had that, and GLI followed it perfectly. Now, it did diverge to the downside. So, for example, when Bitcoin here in 2018, there was a big dump, okay? After this bear market, it dumped and halved again. GLI stayed consistent, and Bitcoin rose very quickly to meet it, okay? Same thing when you have the onto the upside. When it rises very quickly, it'll come down very impulsively to meet the GLI. So the GLI is more stable for sure because it's an aggregate of so many things in the equation, okay? And you can see it holds true really beautifully, where we will swing up to the upside, or you saw it'll swing to the downside. But Bitcoin will always come back to meet the GLI, usually not the other way around, because you can't move hundreds of trillions of dollars. It's easier to move hundreds of billions of dollars to meet this giant aggregate called the GLI. Now, what's happening now is really interesting, okay? Because we are very far apart, okay, from the GLI. We're very far apart, okay? Now, what could happen? Well, could this just be an anomaly? Could this time be different? 100%, sure. We don't have that much history on Bitcoin. We forget Bitcoin came out in 2009? Guys, that's in bigger terms, it's 15 years. It's really nothing. It's not like we have 50 years or 100 years or 200. We have 15 years, all right, of information. But Bitcoin has done what an asset does in 100 years in 15 years, all right? Or maybe an asset would do in 500 years, Bitcoin has done in 15 years. It's really amazing what it's done, okay? But you can't deny the fact that GLI is coming down, and this is way up here. And the only things we can look at are to the past, where when the deviation has happened this much, at some point, the Bitcoin has to deviate from its path to meet GLI at some place. Maybe GLI comes up a little bit, but Bitcoin has to at some point meet it. But we don't know how long it can diverge for. We don't have that much history to look at where it's diverged for that long. Could it just keep diverging? Now, if I turn this off, if I come back to where we had the drawdowns on Bitcoin, if you come back here, let's say that this diverged to the upside, and then impulsively it came back to match it. It diverged to the downside, and at some point impulsively it comes back up to meet it. Obviously, same thing happened here, but they also started printing here, the whole world, right? So this went up dramatically, and this came up to meet it. But at some point, they have to find each other again, okay? At least based on the history we have, okay? At least based on the history we have. Okay, even if I take it off log, you can certainly see the correlation, okay? And if you can't see it, well, you're probably in the wrong business. All right, but there's certainly something to be said there. Now I'm going to show you the DJI really quick. Okay, if I go back to 2008, where Bitcoin came out after the GFC, you can see how incredibly close these are correlated, okay? You can almost, it's almost like a trend line. Like, look at that. It's come down and bounced off it. It kept going up as they were printing. And then, of course, what happened? It came back to meet it here, came up. And then, of course, when the zombie virus begun, it dumped down massively and they started printing. And what did the DJI, the Dow Jones Industrial Index, do? It's just wrote it perfectly. I mean, the correlation is uncanny, especially when they were printing on a worldwide scale. And, I mean, this is incredible. This is just beautiful. And you can see when they deviate, when the DJI was way up here and this was way down here, it impulsively corrected itself to find its path again on there. So the DJI as well did this, and you can see this happening here as well. Okay, and what do we see happening here again? You've got this massive divergence, man. You got a massive one, guys. Okay, it's way up here, and it's way down here. Now, I know for sure this cannot impulsively find it again. So this has to give more at some point. Okay, but I don't know. I just, what the question is, how long can it go for? How long can it diverge for? I don't know. That we don't know. Okay, because a lot of this really started back around the GFC, where the whole world's been printing money. So we can see this correlation very clearly. Okay, but you can certainly see here where they diverged, and then they come back to meet each other, and the DJI has to give more. And I think a similar thing could happen here too. Possibly, but I don't know. Not financial advice. Who knows what we're talking about. Now, I also want to show you the EMAs. Now, once again, you guys can turn on the Global Liquidity Index at home and follow it. You guys should. It's definitely very cool. This is the 52-week EMA on Bitcoin, okay? And this is a beautiful way to look at the price of Bitcoin because they have a really wonderful, close relationship, okay? And really quick, before I show you that, I'm going to just play like 4 seconds of this video. Listen closely. A hiccup makes sense, and dare I say it, but this looks like it could be a bull trap, all right? And so I got to take caution. Once again, I don't think the bull run's over. I don't think it's ending, but being that we haven't had any significant pullback. Okay, so that was videos from May 30th, okay? So it was just a little over a month ago I put that there was a bull trap, and it played out beautifully. That was a bull trap. We were right here on May 30th. We were right there at that peak, and we've drawn down quite significantly since then. Okay, we were up here, and we've had a drawdown. We had a drawdown from when I made that video of almost 20%, which is a nice move in Bitcoin. Now, the question is, do we keep going up from here, or do we keep going up? Now, based on the Global Liquidity Index, like we said, we don't know. There could be a few months left, for sure, where we keep diverging. There's no doubt about that. And when you look at the EMAs, you see a very close relationship where Bitcoin always comes back to the 52-week EMA. So when we're above it in a bull run, we stay floating above it, and then we come down, we test it, and then if we break below it, we're in a bear market, okay? So we tested it, we bounced, we broke below it, we're in a bear market, okay? And then we came up for a bit, and then here was the zombie apocalypse, and then once we got above it, remember this when the GLI started printing like crazy, we just float like a butterfly. All right, we came in, we played with this little chop, faked everybody out, and then we went back above it for a little bit, broke it again, tested, rejected, bear market, okay? And now what have we done? We did the same thing. We first rejected, got above, we've been bouncing, and we've been floating, okay? And obviously, you can see here, look at this pattern here, look at this pattern here. We could certainly start a bull run and keep floating up, but it just, to me, seems unlikely with who's coming to play in Bitcoin right now with the way the world is. And when I look at the GLI and I turn this on, you can see these are diverging dramatically right now. And we've seen every time that it does this above the 52-week and then launches and goes crazy and floats above it, into its bull run, this is going up always. Oops, the GLI is always floating up. You can even go back to here. Okay, where we got above the 52-week EMA and it gets above it, kind of like what we're doing now, and we're dancing above it, and then it just launches and floats above it. What is the GLI doing? The GLI is pumping like crazy. Now, could this time be different? That's for you to decide, man. You got to sleep at night. It's your money. You got to figure out what you want to do. The way I look at it is I'm playing this so that I am comfortable either way. So if we do just float up for whatever reason that everyone decides to be really bullish right now, and go on this massive bull run and continue up, I have a position that I can play, but I've also played it in a way where if the GLI ends up doing what it's done in the past and Bitcoin corrects violently to meet it, I'm okay with that too. But we have not tested this 52-week EMA, and usually when we do in the past, we end up taking off on a bull run, but the GLI is always going in the opposite direction it is now when it does that. And right now the GLI is pointing straight down, and it's been heading straight down for quite a long time. And does it need to go up? Yes. It's not going to go down forever. It needs to go up. But what are the catalysts that are going to make it happen? When is that going to happen? I don't know. It could be next week, and it could be another 4 or 5 months out. but it's going to happen at some point, I think. I don't think these just stay diverged for years. But never say never. Never say never. This time isn't different until it is. So you guys need to make a decision for yourself, what makes the most sense to you. And yeah, you guys know I have a Telegram. You guys can come in there and chat, or you guys can put your comments, questions down below. I'm happy to answer them. And the EMA, 52-week EMA, and the Global Liquidity Index are what I was showing you right now. I've also got this on the weekly, which is turned down. But if we go to the monthly, well, we can see this kind of curving up at the top there. It's kind of slowing down a little bit. 3 months is pointing straight up. 2 months pointing up. But the GLI is pointing straight down. But you can see here where it came down and we went up. We were above the we were above the 52-week EMA. So yeah, we've been going down for a while. You know they're going to print anytime. They've already eased on rates. Look at that. Look at that correlation, guys. Look at that. Maybe this had to go up so much because and now it just has to come down to correct and meet Bitcoin price. Because remember, Bitcoin, you're looking at this price in dollars. So the dollar's getting weaker in this sense. Dollar's still the strongest asset on earth, but it's getting weaker in relation to every other currency. So of course, price of Bitcoin is going to go up in relation to it. So yeah, could this just be correcting now for the first time since they printed so much goddamn money and we're coming down to meet this? I don't know, guys. It's something to look at. We got to think about as we go forward. Yeah. But I think maybe we need to at least come back to the 52-week EMA. I do think this could be another bull trap we're having here. Okay. If I were to go back, let's go look a little closer. Turn off the GLI. We were in this, and you can see it broke, right? It's obvious, right? So now we've retested it, and we've not completed it daily, but we could be finding support here. But to me, maybe this could be a bull trap, and we fall back down. But we got to keep watch on this. All right, so GLI 52-week EMA. Guys, pay attention. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and definitely any questions you have, put them down, man, in the Telegram or down below, and we'll chat about it. All right, later.